Hey all, this is Mike Tango Whiskey coming at you with another Hurt Feelings report. This is going to be episode 6. And remember, in my Hurt Feelings reports, what I do is I go over the past week, looking at all the comments, trying to find the absolute best insights and the best insults. I read them both and I respond to both. If you're new to the channel, welcome. This is the prepping channel for the people in the meaty part of that curve, the 68 percenters we're calling ourselves. We're not tier 1 tactical ninja operators, and we're not off-grid survivalist bushcrafter woodsmen. We are husbands, wives, people with jobs, driving sedans, minivans, living in the suburbs, working in the city, right? Doing regular stuff, and we want to be prepared for whatever is to come. So that's us. Okay, let's jump right in. I got some saucy ones today. I'm gonna try and find the one that I'm gonna use for my thumbnail too. I got some good stuff. So we'll see what I come up with. Okay. It strikes me how cheap you are on the most important place to defend in your life. You are ashamed of your equipment and rigs. It tells me that you are putting your life and your family's life in danger. Please invest in some decent equipment and rig for once in your life. This is appalling. 3 exclamation points. You're right about one thing. You are really cheap. And for F's sake, replace your ball ammo with defensive ammo. Well, Jean-Claude, yeah, I looked you up. You have a YouTube channel. You know I can click on your name and find your YouTube channel, right? Jean-Claude, I appreciate your feed. I said, thanks for the input. Also, please go watch my In Praise of Cheap Gear video. There's plenty of content there for you to comment on. Yeah, inexpensive doesn't mean ineffective, right? The firearm that sits in my home defense sling is my most tested and most reliable firearm. I've never had a malfunction. Thousands of rounds, never, not once. That's the one that I want there, right? Yeah, so. And Jean-Claude, that little app that you're developing on your YouTube page, I hope it sucks. It looks like it sucks. I saw your commercial too, so. All right, moving on. Laugh out loud, brother. This is in response to Hurt Feelings episode number 5. You're short, concise, descriptive, and informative. It's perfect. I should stop right there. The issue is the short attention span and need for immediate gratification for general audiences. Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. It's true though. Like, I'm guilty of it too. When I watch a video, if they're blathering on, I'm gonna fast forward it. So I'm trying to get better and more concise, especially with my intro to kind of get people into the video and keep them watching. Yeah, so it's a little bit of both, right? You guys are really helping me define who our audience is, and I think the content that I'm putting out is resonating with the right people, the people that are pretty much like me. So yeah, short. You know, I try and do funner things in the short. I may try and do more informative content in the shorts too for the people with short attention spans. But most of this content is gonna remain the same. Because it's who I am. New, creative, common sense content is the ticket. Keep it coming. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Someone says, you really need to do the gear and gadgets won't help you if you don't have tampons. T-shirt. Too many wannabe commandos running around ignoring basic stuff for real life. I would buy that T-shirt. Thank you, sir. Yeah. Tampons over chest rigs or tampons over plate carriers or something. I am working on swag. I'm working on stickers because those are the easiest. Patches eventually. T-shirts, hats, those kind of things. I need to find someone else that's already in that space to help me, but I'm gonna be putting that kind of stuff out for sure before someone else does, right? Yeah, someone criticized me for saying I was gonna hang my sling high, so like your kids should be trained and blah blah blah, and my kids are trained. Before they touch a firearm at the firing range, they have to quote to me the 4 rules. There's a huge amount of respect. Yes, but they're still kids. Like, kids are kids. It's trust but verify, right? I trust them, I train them, and I still take precautions. It's yes and. It's not either or. Extra Adventure, she's one of my very prolific posters. She says, it's all well and good to train your kids on respect for firearms, but kids often have friends over, or they may not have the same upbringing. Out of Reach was a fun challenge for me as a young kid. Locked would have been better. Yeah, there's so many variables when it comes to that, and there's no coming back from a mistake there. So I try to do both. Yeah, this guy talks about threshold for firearms, how to make weapons safe, clean firearms. Yes, we do all those things. This guy, I'm laughing about the guy last time who had no time for your rambling lectures, but apparently had plenty of time to compose a profanity-laden screed. Yes, yeah, I found the irony in that too. It's like, I talk too long? You write too long, sir. Yeah. Let's see. There are some legal ramifications. So entry toolkit, there are some legal ramifications for having burglar tools on your person. Yes. So depending on your state, there are laws about carrying certain items with you. So please be aware of what your laws are. I am not telling you to break the law. You have to know that. And some people in the comments have been recommending alternate tools, like everyday tools that can be used, like credit cards for shims and stuff like that. That's really good advice. So you have to know what your laws are in your state, just like anything else. This is not it's not a legal channel, and I'm not a lawyer, and this is not legal advice. This guy says, amongst the best videos I know, real life, no BS fantasy, you just smoked and educated big name preppers on YouTube, no experience, just yapping away. That's high praise. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. Not trying to smoke big name preppers, but it's kind of cool, right? Yeah, you know, and I know for a fact now, there's other prepping channels that are also doing videos on the ideas that I'm putting out in here. I've got almost 5 examples of videos that I know, because the timing and the subject matter, that's good though. That's good. My wife was like, does that make you mad? No, because I think the point of this community is for us to learn from each other. And if I'm putting out original ideas, cool. I consider that, that's kind of, what is it? Something, the highest form of flattery or whatever. Yeah. So I appreciate that. Now that I was thinking about that when I did my Baofeng video, the comms video, because I thought to myself, well, if I'm just coming up with ideas and they steal that and they do a video on that same idea, that's easy to do, right? So I was like, let's see them follow this. So now I have an hour-long slideshow that I developed, like, boom, follow that, you know, so we'll see. This guy says, what a complete, so my 10-pound get-home bag, what a complete waste of video time. Hopefully he watched the whole thing though. An easy solution would be to leave the whole bag at work. Yeah, I don't think he watched the whole video because that bag stays at work. It was the premise in the video. This bag sits at my job. So I don't think he watched the whole video. I think he talked about maybe it stays on my bike or something. I don't know. This guy says, if you want to know the future, read the Bible. Stay dangerous out there. Yes. Yep. My filter for world events is the book of Revelation, and the Gospels. My filter for balancing prepping and faith, fear and love, understanding people, all of those things, my perspectives on those things come from Scripture. So it saturates everything that I think and do. Probably not as much as it should, but this guy says, I keep watching your bag videos because I want to see when your kit gets down to a wallet with half a razor and a stick of gum. I said, I was thinking about that. An 8-pound get-home bag video, a 6-pound get-home bag video, a 4-pound get... He inspired that short that I made of my 0-ounce survival kit with like the little razor blade and then the Band-Aid and the string. It was satire, but yeah, he inspired me. I can't believe it was 0 ounces, but yeah. This guy says, there's a lot of these too in the comments where people comment on my entry tool video, and they're listing examples of when they've had to get in through a lock or through a door or into a space for completely legitimate reasons. I keep saying those exist, and we're getting evidence of that in the comments. This guy says, combo lock, there was some luggage that they couldn't open and the lock was broken, so they had to jimmy it open. He used a little pick that was very similar to the one that I showed. That's not quite the same, but the right angle pick, he showed that, or he talks about that being useful to him, and he used it in a legit scenario. So I thought that was pretty cool. How does the guy who doesn't want you to talk expect you to make videos if you don't talk? He's not required to watch your videos. Personally, I love how much you talk. Thank you. Yeah, we're finding our rhythm. Me and my audience, we're finding our rhythm. The feedback is getting more and more in the middle, right? Consistently good. This guy says, my get-home bag is 11.8 pounds with food and water. I could probably go through and see if I could lighten it up. Yeah. It's nice. Getting that 10-pound mark. 10 pounds is nothing. Like, you put 10 pounds on, and it doesn't feel like anything. Okay, here we go. I got a couple COVID-19 comments. I don't want to go into the pandemic in depth. I don't want to talk about the jab. I don't want to talk about... Here's what I'm saying. I'm qualified to do that. I could do that. There's a whole list of things that we were told that were not true. Okay. This is like the second person. They're like, millions died in the US. Yes. And I am not downplaying that. That figure that I'm being quoted, 1.2 million, it was over the course of 4 years. Okay. So let's average that out to what it is per year. Then you start looking at, I remember one statistic that they came out with, and nobody pitched a fit when this came out. It was so strange. I don't know if this was my area or nationwide. I'm pretty sure it was nationwide, where 96%, because what they had done is the death certificates they were requiring funeral homes to post them, to list them as COVID deaths, even if it was death with COVID, not just death from COVID. And the percentage was, if I'm not mistaken, it was like 94% of the deaths that were being called COVID deaths were death with COVID, not death from COVID. That was an eye-opener for me. So what that means is if you have COVID and you get into a car crash, it was listed as a COVID death. Things like that. Then the other, and I remember early on in the pandemic, this is months in, when they told people they could just wear cloth masks because they were running out of N95s. People were buying them, nurses didn't have them, hospitals didn't have them. So when I was in the Air Force, I was a painter, and I wore respirators, right? Half face and full face. So a couple things this is how I knew when I was like, so respirators, what you have to do, first of all, you have to be clean shaven. You have to have a respirator that's the right size, okay? Then it has to be sized to your face. It has to be clean at all times to properly get a seal. This has to be clean, free from cracks. You have to inspect it weekly. There's all kinds of stuff you have to do, right? Then, so it was sized right, you were clean shaven, you put it on, you would have to don it a certain way. Tighten certain straps first. I think it was the top straps first and then the bottom straps. Then you had to do a fit test. You'd blow, see if you get blowing out. Then you would cover these and suck in. You would test the seal. Then we had to go to bioenvironmental engineering, right? We had to put the mask on, don it properly, demonstrate that for them. Then while we read a paragraph of, the pot of gold is over the rainbow and blah, blah, blah. And we had to turn our heads like this, and we had to turn our heads like this, and we had to turn our heads in circles and then back the other way. We had to bend over, we had to look up, we had to twist, we had to do, and the whole time they had a wand blowing, like releasing this banana pepper gas, right? And if it got into your mask, you would know it because your eyes you'd start to burn. You'd feel it. It's like a really light pepper spray. That's how you got certified to wear this, to know that it was working properly and keeping particulates out. Not only that, you have to have the right filters. Some filters do chemicals. Some filters do biological agents. Some filters do, it depends what you're trying to filter out. And then you had to go through that every single year to make sure that your face hadn't changed. If you got surgery, if you gained a certain amount of weight or lost a certain amount of weight, you had to go recertify. That's how a mask keeps particulates out of your lungs, face, nose, eyes, all that stuff. So when I heard on the news, and whoever was saying, bandana's fine, that's cool, I was like, I knew, based on my experience, I knew that was not accurate. And I was like, what are you talking? Then I heard the microns, like how big the virus is, and someone said it's like throwing a pebble at a chain link fence, That's when I started to stop believing what I was being told. That's all I'll say. I know the virus is real and I know people died from it. I know that happened. But so much of what we were fed during that whole debacle turned out afterwards, and nobody paid attention afterwards. Most of it turned out to not be true. Okay? That was a major, talk about going from like red pill to black pill. Like that was major. That's all I'll say about that. I'm not trying to downplay anybody who was sick, anybody who died. I know people have loved ones and that who, I know. But there's a lot of things that went on during that time that were just, it was a wake-up call for me. It was. Okay, that's all I'll say about that. Bao Feng? Does your wife's work within range of your Bao Feng? Yep, it is. I call it Bao Feng. The reason I know that's the right pronunciation, I used to teach English to Chinese kids online during the pandemic. And I showed one to a kid when I first bought him. He was like, oh, that, and he told me the pronunciation. I don't speak Chinese or Mandarin or anything. Okay, talking about the pea conch that I bought for my wife. I worked on an archaeological dig far away from facilities. I'm not great at the squat method, so I developed my own device. And she talks about how she used this thing with a reservoir on it, used a power drill the hole. So yeah, the good old days. Someone else had talked about a filter, a funnel, like to do your oil, like from an auto store in a pinch. That could work too. That's nice. I was about to leave until turd on the carpet. TOTC, nice one. Also rhymes with Yahtzee. It does. TOTC Yahtzee. Someone posted that a while back. I was like, what are you talking about? TOTC Yahtzee. It's funner to say. One guy said, we don't need new acronyms. Stop doing that. Yeah, we do. We need a new acronym. Okay. I really wanted to select, I put it's funny, I put a survey out on if I should monetize, and I haven't checked it today, but I think it ended up at 68%, which is crazy. Let's see, post. I can't see the thing. I'll find it, but it was close. It was like at 69%. So this guy says, I wanted to select stay broke until the apocalypse, which was one of the choices, because it made me laugh, but alas, you need to make money. Overwhelming support for me to monetize. I did. I clicked the button. I'm waiting to hear back. One gentleman, prepping channel, told me I'll probably hear tomorrow, but I hesitated to post because I was like, man, I'm wasting views if this is like costing me money, but I can't wait. So I continued. I've made the radio video and then this one. But yeah, I'm waiting to hear back about that. And also working on an affiliate channel for Amazon and swag to sell on my page. So those are the three things: monetize, swag, and affiliate link over at Amazon for the stuff that I already own. This guy says your last video didn't have enough compasses. Well played, sir. The compass thing is becoming a running joke. I'm still getting criticism for not carrying compasses. I gotta be honest though, I'm joking about it. Like, I will never consider that. Someone tell me if you know what that quote is from. It's from a really great TV show. So every time someone mentions a compass, what about a button compass? It weighs nothing. I will never consider that. I will never carry a compass. Now it's just a joke. I still think 90% of scenarios, people are throwing some stuff in here. Well, smoke and fog and nighttime, and I have watches that have compasses, I guess, but yeah, I still think you're probably not going to need one. I got lost in the woods once. My car got stranded on a road in the woods, and then I just walked on the road until I found people. Maybe I'll make a video about that. There are roads. That's kind of the point. People are like, you still don't know the direction if it's dark and it's foggy, but you have roads, literal paths. And then if someone says, well, the roads are blocked, you have to walk through the wood. Okay, there's just not any woods between where I work and where I live. There just isn't. If I go north or something, my family's going on a church retreat this weekend. It's going to be in some woodsy area. I'm not carrying a compass. You thought I was going to carry a compass. I'm not taking one. Nope. I will never consider that. Okay. Now it's just a joke. I'm just going to get lost on purpose just to prove you people wrong. I'm going to talk to my survival expert guy and talk to him about compasses, and we'll see what he says. Okay, finally, someone else with a get-home bag not devoted to camping. Yes. Cooking and survival camping on your way home when your car breaks, no. This guy says, bug out actually means going to a pre-planned location. Most people think it's going into the woods. I think it's because of the YouTube commandos and a lot of people don't have a bug out location to go to. Yes. Bugging out to the woods is not bugging in. It's just becoming a refugee or homeless. Yes. I'm glad you're bringing people back to reality. Yeah, I'm not really arguing with the bug out idea as it was originally. The term has morphed into this walking into the woods with your big clackety-clack backpack, you know? Yeah. Yes. So if you have a location, and that's my goal, I want to have a second home in a remote location that we can just drive to and boom, we're there, it's stocked, it's ready. That's my goal. This guy says, monetize. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Yeah, a lot of overwhelming support to get this. Get that money, man. Get that money. One guy was warning me against monetizing. He sent me an email too. He had some good reasons in there. It's the whole reason I'm doing YouTube. Like even if I do it and it doesn't work out, like he tried it and he had to back off of it. That's cool. I want to give it a shot though. I want to give it a shot. Like if it doesn't work, oh well. But if I don't do it, I figure I will regret it. A couple of people talked about bug out bag. Its origin was an A bag on an SAS Jeep in North Africa during World War II. A couple of people talking about the origins of the bug out bag, like where that term comes from, or bugging out in general. If you think the city is dangerous, try trespassing on people's land around here. People in the mountains are very protective of their property and generally well armed. I didn't even talk about that, but yes. So people from the cities start evacuating into the woods with their get home bags, and they find a nice little road and a little camp. You're probably on private land. Like unless you already know where public land is, and that stuff may be restricted. So then you've got those people to deal with. You know, you go out there to go set up camp and you get shot. Oh, here it is. Look, bug out, set up patrol base in Farmer John's field. Get clapped by Farmer John for not making friends beforehand. Yes. Right? That's the point. Make friends that have land or have land yourself. Otherwise, it's probably a pretty bad idea. I really believe that. COVID was akin to a large natural disaster hitting San Francisco. It's not civilization ending, but it's a mass casualty event. You don't call such an event mild because it's not civilization ending. COVID was not mild. It was a severe mass casualty event that would have killed 3 million people if we allowed it to fully run its course without the jab, and overall case fatality about 0.25%, but equates to about 1 million dead. I think you believe that. I know you believe that because you lived there. What was funny was someone I know went, when we were in full lockdown, they went down to, what was it, Arizona or Texas or something, and went to like a stadium game. And they were like, what? Don't you guys know that it wasn't like that everywhere. It wasn't like that everywhere. This guy says, I attended a financial seminar and a class. One thing that stuck out to me was setting aside money for short-term problems such as car failures, layoff, health emergencies. Yes. Planning for TOTC would complement your preparedness for SHTF, just like your savings account would add to life insurance. Yeah, and again, I wasn't saying just TOTC and not SHTF. It's both. I think it's 80-20. And people say if you do this one, if you prepare for SHTF, you'll be ready for TOTC. I found that not to be true, because this is so extreme. Like my plate carrier and 120 rounds didn't help me with a fire, right? I think if you get all the stuff for a fire and then add a firearm, you might be good for SHTF. I think this one is the one we should be focused on. So I've explained that in other places. Here's a good point. Bugging out is not an option for many of us old people. Home is where our stuff is. No guarantee of getting to another destination or location without any problems. Yeah, people who are disabled, I didn't even cover that. People who have family members, maybe uncles or cousins or father-in-law, mother-in-law who live with them, right? Elderly, disabled people who can't leave their home. Not only is it a terrible idea to throw a backpack on and then get your wife to try and go, and then get your kids to try and go, but what are you gonna roll grandpa to the woods? You know, yeah. It's just not an option for most people. Most people, it's not. This guy says, so when are the 68% TOTC stickers coming out? I'm working on them. I'm dirt poor, but I can afford that much, and I'll be asking people so we can point them out on here. This guy says he watched a Bugout episode of MASH. Yeah. This guy's looking for some stickers. Yeah, talk about some Bugout tools. Yeah, so bugging out was talked about in MASH. That's pretty cool. That was in the 60s, was it, or 70s? Try living in the woods without that knife. You'll be stuck having to break twigs and use that for some rocks to make a knife. What? You think you're gonna forge a knife in the woods? So actually it's a very good thing to have. Oh, he's talking about my knife. Now, the thing that you're missing out on is that living in the wood comes with a crap load of danger. And if you don't know what you're doing, you will die. The phrase, it's a jungle out there, applies to the woods too. Wildlife, hunger, thirst, exposure. Yes, this guy is, he says, the best thing is to come and have another person. When a tree falls in, you get struck by lightning, or you get stuck under a tree. You have limited kit. Who's gonna come for you? Breaking your leg could be lethal. Yeah. Just tripping and falling, like walking with a pack with boots on uneven ground. If you go hunting, you have to step carefully. So like you and your whole family walking through the woods over logs and rocks, and someone's gonna break their ankle or twist their ankle, and then what? You're just stuck there on the mountain, right? So, yeah. I'm a native of Kilinago in the Caribbean. Not much of a prepper, but I do think it's silly to believe you must remain in your drywall and AC to live. Or it's optimistic to only live in buildings. I agree that a lot of preppers are understood to live a life on the land. Many will figure it out. Many have books and knowledge and need to spend more time listening to the land and live with it. He says, listen to your roots, listen to your lands, and spend time walking with nature. Yes, he said, understand that tribes live with their daily environment. There are people all over the world who live close to nature, much closer than us in the West. But specifically, my audience is mostly Western. If you have a lot of experience in the outdoors, great. I think that's valuable. Most of us don't, though. And like walking into the woods and expecting to be there and learn all that stuff, it's pretty silly. Even if you have really great books with you, what are you gonna like read the book and then figure out? You probably should have done, you will have to have done those things beforehand to know what you're doing once you get out there. It doesn't really work that way. The weird pointer finger ring is gone. Nice. Is that me? Is that, take that, sir? That's a castle nut. I made it. I love it, right? It's an ode to me being a mechanic for all those years. I get the most compliments about that ring, so I wear it all the time just to get compliments. This guy compliments on TOTC being a good fit before SHTF. Thank you. Bug out when necessary. Yes. I'm trying to get to these hearts. I'm in the UK and have a plan mapped out. If SHTF, I can literally in 30 minutes have enough food and water and electricity to last 6 months. 100 yards from a high school, surrounded by fields and ponds on 3 sides, a full kitchen and food storage. Oh, this guy's talking, a shop with tools. This guy's talking about using a school maybe to live in. Like, yeah, in SHTF, without rule of law, like if things got to that point, there's so many resources in and around the city and out on the outskirts of the city, buildings, and yeah, obviously not during rule of law, but during emergencies, maybe. I think about where you work, like all the buildings and resources available there, shops and tools, and maybe even vehicles in an emergency that you had to use to get yourself or others to safety. There's just so many options. I'm doing more content on that stuff, so. Okay, this guy's talking about the city and bugging out. Survival odds exponentially increase in higher numbers in most scenarios. People don't seem to understand this. People are a resource, yes. So bugging out to the woods, you're leaving some dangerous people, but you're leaving a lot of people who could be resources for you, right? Other people who have knowledge, have skills, have resources themselves, right? There's power in numbers. Oh, my compass. Ever been in a dust storm? Your knowledge of the area won't matter. Wildfires? Yeah, you need a compass. Come on. Well, I will never consider that, sir. A dust. So if I'm on my way home on my bike in a dust storm, which sometimes we've had those, maybe a couple times, in a dust storm or a blizzard or a blackout or some sort of thing that blinds the way, should I pull out my compass and keep riding forward? Obviously, I would stop and wait till that thing is passed, right? I would not continue to navigate in blind conditions, even with a compass. Like that's retarded, sir. Sorry. Please seek help. Oh, that's good. I'm gonna write that down. Please seek help. Oh, that's good. That might make it as a thumbnail. Yeah, someone said, without seeing the whole video, contingency, if you have to bail out before you get to work, you can't access your bike. Yes, I've said that repeatedly. All of my get home bag equipment. I'm also equipped to walk home. I've done the walk. It's 6 hours, which is moving pretty quick. But all the gear in there can sustain me. The shoes I wear to work, I could walk home in. I've walked miles and miles in those shoes. So, bro, SHTF, TOTC, LMAOROFLOL is totes my goats. It's gonna be a 24/7 firefight with teenage mutant ninja Chinese Martian zombie paratroopers that you won't survive without a knife that's a 1/2 inch thick and a 12-inch blade on an AR pistol with 12-inch barrel, 17 magazines, and a spare 1,000 rounds in your backpack. Seriously, I wish I could give this video more than a thumbs up. This guy talks about people. The only thing I think you got wrong is the number of people you need. You really need 12 able-bodied adults at a minimum. 4 is the minimum that can reliably guard a position, 4 to sleep, 4 to do everything else that needs to be done. One additional adult for every 2 children with you. One last thing on knives, yeah. It's a good point. I might be off about that. Like, I forget how many I said you need. More than one. A group of 12. I gotta get working on that. I have like 4 friends, so those numbers are bush league. I gotta get my numbers of friends up. Just throwing it out there. Dry erase board looks the same when bugging in. A little bit different context, unless you're Rambo, or of course Kevin from Home Alone. yeah, Rambo setting all the traps in that, or Kevin from Home Alone. He might be a good person to have on your team. A couple of people recommended duct tape. So instead of like buying all new bins, just using duct tape to mark the bins. Yeah, I like that. Friends had to evacuate in northern Canada a couple years ago. Were on alert for several days. They loaded their truck early with what they needed, the dog crate, camping gear, etc. They left before the mandatory evacuation was put in place, traveled to the next town, camped overnight, and then the following day they headed south. We had told them before that they were welcome at our place and just let us know if they needed to leave. So they let us know when to expect them. A 3-day drive on the interstate. They stayed with us the whole time, but they had a base of operations somewhere else to land, and they could branch out from there. Yeah, that's the plan, right? Ahead of the mob, stuff is organized, stuff is loaded ahead of time. You leave before you're told to, and you have some place to go. Good stuff. That's a solid bug out. That was smart. I want to be like them when I grow up. When people talk about living off the land in the woods, I think of the various Japanese soldiers that hid in the jungles for years after World War II. They lived miserable lives hiding in the jungle and living off the land. Some of these soldiers hid for decades. Yeah, those are amazing stories. Unless you're going through the woods is a shortcut to a FEMA shelter, I'll leave the forest to the snakes and to the ticks. Yes. Especially with a family, like it's just not a viable option. What? I tell people to find friends. This guy says, what people? How do I find people who don't think I'm crazy? You got to test them out. You know what I've been doing? When I meet somebody that gives me kind of like they're awake vibes, like we start talking about subjects and I met a guy at work recently and he goes, he said something like, yeah, there's just some stuff that I know that just, so I was like, So the next day I hit him up. I said, what's your farthest bridge, man? I was like, what's your best piece of knowledge that's going to wake me up to what's really going on? And he paused and he dropped some stuff about like some NASA stuff. And I was like, do you like velociraptors? Like, did we just become, this guy's down. He's awake. I don't know if I can trust him. I don't know if he's loyal, but he's awake. And that, I think COVID did that for a lot of people. A lot of people, like, that tipped the scales for them. They were like, wait, hold up. What's happening? A lot of people I know who before that were completely like, la-di-da, just kind of going through life, you know. It woke a lot of people up. So some of the feeds my wife gets, I'm like, dang, people are awake out there. You just got to find them. You got to test them early. Have those conversations. Quit talking about the weather unless you're talking about chemtrails or something. You know, like, are these clouds fake? Like, there's ways you can, maybe I'll do a video on that, ways to make friends without them thinking you're crazy. It's funny. He says, this is a different guy. I have friends who don't even have a single thought about prepping for anything. They live in the moment. And I look at them thinking it must be wonderful to be so trusting, blissfully unaware, almost like an animal. When I think about prepping, I think it is mostly I don't want to be inconvenienced. Like I remember before 2010, there was a power outage. Yeah. 70s, the gas crisis. Next week, it's going to be coffee. Yeah, there's always something to be prepared for. But most people are just not concerned about it at all. If something catastrophic happened in America and lasted for 6 months or longer, so this is past TOTC. That statement right there is SHTF, right? People who don't bug out of their homes will die in their homes. I hate to be so direct, but most people don't have enough food or water to last 30 days. Bugging in won't be any safer. I live in an apartment, absolutely would have to bug out. Without power, water, sanitation becomes a serious issue. Yes. What you're describing is the sliding scale from TOTC to SHTF. A couple days, a week, I don't know. You start getting into months. Yeah, that's SHTF, man. People start losing their minds after 3 days of no power, no food, right? The store shelves go empty, no power, a week tops. This guy says most people can benefit from CERT training, community emergency response. If you live in a city, local fire departments offer CERT training for free. That's a great tip. It shows the basics of how to survive a major event. I didn't even know about that. I wrote that down. I'm going to be doing more content on emergency management stuff because a lot of this stuff already exists. It's not cool and sexy like we see on YouTube. It's through your fire department. It's through maybe FEMA or, you know, your local school or whatever. Yeah. This guy says, if you have 8 kids, I'm assuming you've made a financial plan to care for 8 kids, ? This guy's a pretty good commenter. He's not being sarcastic. It takes a long time to build a real side hustle income on YouTube. Thanks, man. Why are you pissing in my cornflakes? If supplemental money is needed, there are more expeditious ways to bring in a few grand a month over making YouTube videos. I know. I'm working on it, man. Yeah, I'm doing my best to be financially responsible with all my kids. My 4th kid is set to, I've got 2 kids that have graduated early and debt-free from college, and 2 more that are set to graduate early and debt-free. I'm doing it. We're doing some stuff. Yeah. But thank you. Are you offering me financial advice? I feel like that was an offer. Monetize. Nothing wrong with people monetizing. Thank you, sir. I'm not questioning not bringing a compass, even just a button. If your landmarks are burned or washed away, or you have heavy smoke or fog, sand or dust, and you're forced to travel in the dark, or your vision is impaired because you tried to rinse pepper spray from your eyes with electrolyte-laden water, you'll wish you had a compass. Listen to me. I will never consider a compass. Never. You guys are going to catch me with one, and then I'm going to be a big hypocrite. That's great. That's all the stuff at once, right? He's like dust, pepper spray, what did you say? Burned, washed away. So there's a fire, a flood, smoke, fog, dust. You're in the dark, and you have pepper spray in your eyes. What are you going to do then, Mike Tango Whiskey? That's right. You're not going to know where north is. This guy says to monetize on 2 conditions. Do honest reviews on stuff and don't be a shill. Don't make the mistake, as many have, of making your only form of income, because I've heard several people on YouTube say that they're cutting back on paying out money. Lastly, use some of that money for a vasectomy. I also will never consider that. I had 4 appointments for vasectomies, and we backed out. Me and my wife backed out all 4 times. Dude, I'll go to 9 or 10. I'm very prolific. I'll keep working. But for the first part, yeah, I'm trying not to be a shill. Fascinating thoughts on containers and bags in a pinch. Don't underrate trash bags or reusable grocery bags. Yeah, that's a good tip, right? Bags are more malleable. They tend to be free. They're making them, in my state, they upgraded from the throwaway bags to the thicker throwaway bags, but they're sturdier, right? You can carry some weight in those. So if you had to use those, yeah. That's a good tip. I love this. I would change out peeps for community. I had on my whiteboard peeps, and he says change it out for community. Okay, well, I ran out of space, man. I had like this much room. I couldn't write the word community, and I don't like abbreviating things when I'm writing them out. Having a light setup is high IQ. Having someone else carry all your stuff for you is ultra high IQ. Stop the BS, get yourself a guy, and train with it. I don't know what that means. Is he trying to say gun? And this was in response to my 0-ounce survival kit. I don't know what you mean, sir. I must be low IQ because I don't understand this comment. That's what I wrote. This is the best video I've seen in a long time. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Do you have an Instagram? I do not. I used to have Instagram, but I did it wrong. I did all these setup pictures, and it was all fake. I didn't like it. Some guy keeps posting Guardsman 15, and that's all he comments. I looked it up. I think it's a new PSA rifle. You want me to buy one? Are you offering to send me one? You want me to review one? I don't know. This person, I don't know if this is directed at me or not. For the things that are to come. I think I said that. It's really sad, the verbiage some preppers use. Like it's just guaranteed in your head that we will see an apocalypse level event in this lifetime. It's almost as if some of these people are hoping for it. Almost like some Republican gun owners I know fantasize about someone trespassing on their property so they can shoot them. Repulsive behavior. Well, I'm not Republican, and I'm not doing the thing that you're talking about. I'm doing the opposite, as a matter of fact. So I'm not wishing for any of that. Realistically, in any true SHTF, every ill-prepared, skilled prepper and his brother, he's being facetious, is going to head into the woods. This idea will get you away from dangerous people is unreasonable. Wild game and edibles would quickly be depleted. Raiding and violence would follow. Yeah, like a real Lord of the Flies scenario, right? Like out there in the woods. It might be more dangerous out there because you know they all are armed. And the joke get home bag video, it says, sounds right to me. Just another thing I always bring with me is a scuba tank and a full wetsuit. Living here in the high desert country of Arizona, you just never know. Yeah, that's, you joke, but that's, yeah. This guy on my post, my survey, I said the third option was stay broke until the apocalypse. And he says, I picked number 3 because that would make your personal apocalypse come faster. That's when this channel will get really interesting. He says he's just kidding. Well done. This guy wanted me to post the town I was in. No thanks. One guy posted, I figured out what town you're in. It's like, okay. But then he said, I live in Ireland though. I was like, all right, dude. Well, if you're ever out this way, come find me. Don't waste your money on this. Don't waste your money on this TOTC home defense bump in the night kit. It's a piece of junk from Amazon. Cheap and flimsy, definitely not worth it. Save your money for something better. I said, how dare you, sir? Are you even a 68%er? Like, what are you doing here? Yeah, you go pay $200 for a Spirited Systems Velcro placard. This guy says, when I clicked on monetize, then during the survey, it switched to 68%. So 68% of my audience said I should monetize. If that's not a sign, I don't know what is. This guy says, I've seen no one talk about a $20 lifetime membership to REI. Access to incredible things, all the yard sales, incredible gear for cheap. Yes, that is a really good resource. And when I start talking about gray man, I'm going to talk mostly about like Aria, especially in the Northwest here. People, outdoor gear is basically tactical gear with better colors. It's all the same stuff. It really is the same stuff. You can completely be outfitted with outdoor gear, raise zero attention, and be very effective with all of those things. It's just brighter colors, right? We put camo on it. We're like, now it's tactical. I don't know. A couple people suggested me using a tube of super glue in my everything kit. I agree with that. I've just never been able to carry one without it completely exploding and falling apart into, like, I tried to pull, I have a bin up here with all my chemicals, and the super glue is super glued to the bottom of the thing because it leaked. I've never had one not leak. Maybe I need to figure that out, but yeah, I'd like to add super glue. I don't know how to carry it safely. General comment about cheap gear. I just wanted to say that if your city has health expos or county fairs, you might be able to score free gear. First aid kits, whistles, sewing kits, Sharpies, water bottles, distress flag. Yeah, when I go to conferences, I'm hitting up those dental tables, the health insurance. I've got Band-Aid kits. I've got toothbrushes and toothpaste. I'm like, I've got a huge family. I need to take care of their teeth. And I like take all that stuff. Hand sanitizer, all these little trinkets. And you could put those in all your kits, especially my kids' backpacks. I love conferences. Tons of free stuff. Stop prepping for SHTF. This is really a video exposing how people don't understand statistics. This is the primary reason I've never really connected with preppers. They are playing the game of odds wrong. I think that's a compliment. I think he's supporting that content, right? That it's a numbers game. What's most likely to happen? I don't know. Maybe that was an insult to me. I'm not sure. This guy says, 2 days ago, Springfield XD and an Amazon light? Bro, no wonder you have 0 subscribers. Yeah, I think he's being sarcastic because I didn't have 0 subscribers at that point. With all the stuff you're talking about, it sounds not bugging out, but glamping. Take a few days here and there, rough it with your family, real life training to see what you're up against. Encourage your princesses to be warriors. Everybody eats out of the same pan, sharing the same spoon, no blow-up air mattresses, no pillows, etc. Be tougher. Yeah. Thank you, sir. I will be. Hardship is good. Someone said you can get a medical insert for the double mag pouch, like these little kits, like an IFAC kit. That's cool. I wonder if that's expensive, though. I don't know who makes that. But that's a good idea. Instead of like just piecemeal in there, you know? This guy says he's a surplus addict. I know. My local surplus guy is going to love you. This guy says, when do you sleep? I hear you, man. And I said, I'm Batman, because I make these videos at night, even though this one's during the day. One woman said, I'm here for the petty behavior. Please continue. I need more. Yes, ma'am. Sometimes I get petty. Love your channel. You're down to earth, smart. Yes, smart, and makes sense. Edited for sparing. This is her name starts with Laura. Thank you, ma'am. This woman is obviously very intelligent and perceptive, but ma'am, you need to be careful with your comments because you'll get us both murdered by my wife. So, but thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that. Newly subscribed, just a suggestion. It'd be helpful to add some links. Yes. Okay. So links. It sounds like work. I know, but someone sees something in the video. I tell them the name. Hey, this is the company and the name, thinking they're going to go search, but it's easier to click on the link. I get that. So maybe I'll start doing that. Even if I don't, I'm working on an affiliate store with Amazon. I'm working on stickers and swags and t-shirts and stuff. I'll tell you this though, the flashlight, this one, the Workhose, I did the video because I felt obligated and they gave it to me for free. After I did that video, no offense to Workhose, this feels like a decent product, but I went to Amazon. This is $50. This is not a $50 flashlight. I'm sorry, Workhose. This is not a $50 flashlight. Those Woobins were like 20 each, and I like them probably a little bit better. These are okay, but they weren't 50, and then the lantern was 35. So I'm not comfortable putting a link, because a link in the description says, I support this, I recommend it, right? This is what I talked about This is the WowTac A1 that's not available anymore. I bought 3 of these. I should have bought 10 of these. This thing lights up every single time, and then it's got one little button to change the settings. It's got like 4 settings. Uses an 18650. This at its cheapest was $11.99, and I got 2 more of them for $15. Now you can't get them because some other company makes them basically by the same name, and now they're 30 and 40 bucks. Damn, I should have. Anyway, 15 bucks, 50 bucks, all day. So if I put a link, it's going to be because I already own it, I already know it. I'm going to be very, very careful about putting links of people who send me stuff because I didn't like that. I put the link like they asked me to. I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. Then I looked it up. 68%ers, 50 bucks for this? Nope, not doing it. Make an Amazon list. Yeah. Maybe I can just put the link to where you can find it on Amazon and you can go buy it yourself, even though I don't have an affiliate store yet. So I don't think I've ever hit subscribe so fast in the history of YouTube. Thank you, sir. I'm glad to see someone that thinks like me take the time to think and not just realistically, but practically. I look forward to going back and catching up on what I've missed from you and the current content. Stay safe out there. Rico Suave. That's not his name, but I'm excited to say that I had the opportunity to use TOTC today in speaking with a coworker and explain the significance and thought behind it versus SHTF. It's out there. It's in the lexicon. Someone else told me, I didn't see it, but one guy said, your acronym is never going to catch on. It's like, you don't know that. You can't read you don't know the future, sir. It might catch on. I don't know. Maybe in our circles it will. If I could kill this fly. What are you, an elk? Dang it. Okay. Ball ammo isn't safe. A couple people said, okay, you don't do defense ammo, fine. It's not about over-penetration, it's about damage to the enemy. But then I just got some comments. They said every Marine alive will recommend ball ammo. All the wars have used ball ammo. Ball ammo kills guys too. I don't know, man. Look, it's what I have, okay? Defensive ammo is so expensive. One guy said, because I talked about my son staying behind for his friends when we evacuated. This guy says, your son can pay for his friends' confused, young, and dumb loyalty. Let me tell you something, sir. Do you know what's lacking in this world? There are 2 things that are lacking. Someday I'll make a video about the story about my friend group where I live and how it fell apart. You know what's lacking? Here's what's lacking. Number 1 is courage. Courage. People just don't have the freaking cojones anymore. They just don't. You know where I learned this? I learned this during COVID. So I did not mask up. At work, there was some times at work where I negotiated with my boss there was a hallway where I had to wear one. But in public, we didn't mask up. And do you know what I saw? I think it's 1%, but I'm going to say 5%. 5% of the population, even as time went on and nobody believed it anymore, I saw 5% that had the courage to have a hard conversation with a teenager at the door at the grocery store. Courage. People just don't have it anymore. I don't know what theologian said it. He said, all other virtues hang on courage, right? Something like that. Courage is the starting place. It makes all other virtues possible. What my son did was courageous. The other thing that I think is lacking is loyalty, right? Loyalty, and it's because of courage. People won't stay loyal because they lack courage. When times get tough, and I think they are going to get tough, I think there are some hard times coming, I do. I think courage and loyalty are what are going to get people through. I think courage and loyalty are what we need to get through. And I think the people, whoever they are, that lead us through all of that are going to be the ones that are courageous and loyal. That's what I think. That's all I'll say about that. Some things are worth dying for. How about that? Some things are worth dying for. Wife looking over my shoulder while watching. Purple flashlight made its appearance. Ooh, what's that? Actually, I gave this to my wife and I go, here, this is yours. And she goes, send it to one of your subscribers. So I'll send this thing because I don't want you guys paying $50 for it. So I'll send this to somebody. I tore the box apart like a rabid trash panda. So I'll send this to somebody though. I'll figure out a way to give that away too. It's not too bad. It's well made and it's pretty cool. I just wouldn't pay $50 for it. Someone said in my praise of cheap gear video, they said, I was so stressed about needing to buy that GBRS riser. Yeah, you have to have that, dude, because, and once you get that riser, once you pay, what is it, like $400 for their riser, their dual riser, once you pay $400 for that and you mount it, you're suddenly going to realize, you're like, I don't have nods. What? That's why I needed nods, because of this riser. This $500 costs you $13,000. Yeah, don't do it, bro. This might be redundant. The battery for the little flashlight was an 18350. He says, make sure it's not a button top. So the Woodland flashlight, the 18350 was half of an 18650. He says, make sure they're a button top like that, because some of these cheaper ones, these garbage ones, yeah, like this guy. Where's the camera? Right there. You see that? He's talking about a flat top, that these light on fire easier. So use a button top. That's great info. I did not know that. Thank you, sir. He explains the science behind it, but I don't need to know that. I believe you. Thank you. This guy says, all I need is it under my pillow, ready for that bump in the night. Maybe talking about this was in regard to the poll though. He says, cool, dude. Now use your brain more. I'll try. Thank you. I'll try to use my brain more. Every U.S. Marine will tell you to use ball ammo and nothing else. Yeah. Okay. Over penetration hype. This guy says, you can put together a test if you spend a little money with meat and a target and setting up a board behind it and see what happens. And I appreciate that. There's other great videos that do that. I won't be doing any testing though. It's too expensive. I don't have money to. You think if I buy a cut of meat, I'm going to be shooting at it? No. I'm going to be feeding my giant family. Loved Mail Time and the TV show with Gunny growing up. Yeah, I like Mail Time too. So if I get free stuff, I'm going to do a Mail Time. It won't be every week though, because I'm not getting very much stuff. But when I do, either stuff that I purchased or things that people have sent me, that's what I'll do. And remember, next time, I'm going to open it and learn how to work it first, so I'm not fumbling in the video when you see it the first time, even though that does speak to the functionality of something, right? So if I open this and I go, oh, that's sweet, and it turns on, that's how it should work, right? I shouldn't have to like read the instructions, which I won't. This guy says, etymology. That's the 28th time I've been corrected. He doesn't even like give me any context. He just says, etymology. And I'm sorry to break it to you, but your acronym will not catch on. How dare you, sir? How dare you? You know what people like? People like originality. And I think what we're doing here is pretty, you don't know what you're talking about, okay? It will catch on. We're going to make it catch on. This guy says, I'm sorry you're in the Pacific Northwest. You should move to America. Yeah, Idaho's next door. They have much better laws, you know, maybe. But it's so beautiful up here. I love 4 seasons. Yeah, we're working on maybe moving. I don't know. I really liked your chats because I can tell that because I have started liking the videos before I watch them. You should touch base with Mike from Urban UK Prepper Channel. He does podcast interviews with other preppers. Yeah, that's cool. I've had a couple people reach out to me for like to have conversations, much, you know, like smaller channels. I'd love to do that. I don't have a problem with that. If you all are subscribed to other people when you think we should connect, then I don't know, drop them my name. I haven't reached out to anybody and said, hey, we should collaborate. I want to wait till I'm big enough and then they come to me, but I don't know. That's cool. If you guys know some people, then send them my way. My bestie, Man in the Woods 76. Hey brother, what's up? He says, ball ammo versus carry ammo perspective from my bestie. you actually absolutely should consider going to carry ammo. Now, him I'm going to listen to because he's my Velociraptor best friend. You're right about the bulk of it. Not that important, most of the differences, but good carry ammo propellant is treated for flash better than range ammo. And the primers are usually way thicker with cheap range ammo. Thinner is more expensive to make. Anyways, that leads to light primer strikes, less muzzle flash, and reliable ignition matter. Just food for thought from a dinosaur tactical instructor. Okay. Maybe I can get sponsored by a defensive ammo company and they can send me some ammo. I'll buy some defensive ammo and I'll keep it in my carry pistol and my home defense pistol. Would everybody be happy with that? I'll do that. I'll do that. When I get monetized, I'll do that. First thing I'll do is I'll buy some defensive ammo only because Man in the Woods 76 told me to. And he's my bestie. Excellent video. Thank you. Put all your kids to work. You have your own staffing agency. Use defense ammo, not because of over-penetration, but because it's meant to impart all of its energy in the depth of the human body, thus causing more lethal effects on the target. Okay, I'd buy that for $1. Intruders and criminals hate two things, lights and noise. If you're serious about keeping intruders, you need alarms and motion-activated lights around your house. Yeah, we do all that. I have a home defense system, good lighting and alarms and all the stuff. So we've got, or just get a dog. We can't get a dog because we're allergic, but I feel like about my 1 pound possibles pouch. I feel like some of these things are getting so light and compact, it's not very useful. The skeleton that appeared said, that's what she said. Bravo, sir. I didn't see that one coming. That's good. Really like the idea of a bump in the night kit that you should have assembled. It's largely from budget surplus. He has a lot of crap sitting in pouches. Yeah. 18-350s are half of an 18-650. A lot of support for the box cutters. People love these things. Yeah, I think this is what a great tool that nobody talks about. They're super cheap and you can redo the blade on them, right? Okay, I'm almost done with this video. This fly is I'm gonna stab myself in the arm trying to kill it. Okay, but these are great. These are great. I'm gonna do a video on these as the ultimate survival knife and see how many people I can piss off. A list in your notes would be very helpful. Some of us need specifics on what to get. About my entry toolkit, she says old metal hanger, red wedgie thing, bent screwdriver looking doohickey. Okay, I get it. I'll start putting. Love to see a comms video. So I did the comms video. Oh my gosh. Oh, okay, here we go. About my 10 pound bag. He is very myopic. His bag may be perfect for his scenario, but just eliminating a compass makes it extremely provincial and limited content. Boy, this guy must be a doctor. I had to look up what myopic meant. So let's see, myopic. Nearsighted, lacking imagination, foresight, and intellectual insight. Sir, that is going into my hurt feelings thumbnail. How dare you? He's very myopic. Limited content, myopic. Oh. Whew. Compass. That's the most educated compass carrier I've seen. You are clearly an instructor, great speaker, and your analysis on things is clear, concise, and rooted in reality and practicality. Yeah, he talks about retention on the sling, like the flashlight flopping around. Yeah, that's a concern, right? Your tip on decentralization, hit me between the eyes. It's so important because I'm a 79-year-old woman. Yeah, right. Different things, talk about movement equals death. Yeah, boxes are prepper proof. Oh, the boxes for my flashlights are prepper proof because I couldn't open them. Yeah. It's so hard to find a strong light that's just 100% on or 100% off, right? All these different modes and everything. It's very complicated to figure out. So, all right, folks, I'm over an hour already, so I'm going to skip up a little bit. I'm going to have to skip some of these. Statistically, most stateside shootings, home defense, law enforcement, criminal are less than 7 rounds. Law enforcement average around 12 rounds. Yeah, that's a good statistic, right? I've heard that before, single digits. Very good. Yeah, very good info. Technically, UV5R is not technically allowed to transmit anything as it is not FCC certified. That's something that nobody, including me, really talks about. Your radio has to be certified by the FCC to transmit on certain bands. And the Baofongs are not certified. Nobody really talks about that. I don't know if the FCC doesn't care or they don't mind. Like, it's hard to tell. You don't know what radio somebody is using when you transmit unless they ask you about it. But yeah, I don't know. It's very prevalent all over YouTube, everywhere. Everybody's got them. But you, sir, have crafted one of the best, most common sense channels. Thank you. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that feedback. Goes straight to my head. I get the dissing of the fire. This is my very first video. I said I wasn't going to read comments about these, but I'll read this one. I get dissing the fire kit, filter, cook set, and cordage. You're going to die of exposure if you're in a cold situation. You're going to die of dehydration if it's hot out, and you're going to be angry and upset you're not eating. Cordage helps you secure your stuff. 3 days without water is assuming you're properly hydrated to start with. The food situation is a mixed bag. Fixed blade is iffy. Rifle and ammo. Yeah, again, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. So my radio class video that just released, that was my big radio class. I have a 200 level class, and everybody's saying, hey, can you do the 200 level? I'll probably put that out next week. This guy says not to nitpick, but GMRS repeaters cannot be linked. GMRS repeaters have to stand alone. Previously, they were linked, but FCC stepped in to enforce. I wonder if that's recently. Like, that map I showed is a couple years old. I wonder if that was recent, where we were linking them together, the GMRS repeaters, and then the FCC stepped in and stopped it. Maybe. I'll have to find that out. Promise I will start saying TOTC every day. Yeah, me too. Thank you, sir. Remember, you ran a poll on how to grow your channel and what to pursue next? Probably already been thought of. How about hats, shirts, merch? Yeah, I'm working on that. If you want more privacy, get a P.O. box with your address. For your ham license, yeah, if you look up someone's ham license or GMRS license, you can see their address. That's why I don't give it out. Someone emailed me, hey, what's your... I was really like, I don't know. I'm sensing the majority of the Take It Back to the Woods preppers are single guys. Am I wrong? This channel is for most of us who want to be prepared. I need more information on the emergency binders and paperwork. Not how to skin a raccoon for dinner. Oh, this lady's killing it. Hilarious. Thank you. I agree. Yeah, maybe. Or marry guys who think they haven't like talked to their wife about it. Here's my plan. And then when they're like, hey, get your stuff. We're walking to the woods. I'm not going. No, thanks. That would be my wife. Okay, I'm gonna hit refresh just to make sure there's nothing that I'm missing here. Good information. This is about at one point you showed keying up without talking to test if you could hit the repeater. It's called kerchunking. Yes, that counts as transmitting, and you do have to have a license. But the biggest issue is most folks get upset over kerchunking. Okay, so that's good. I think in my video, I said when you just hit the button, is that transmitting without speaking? It is transmitting by definition, okay? So if you're not licensed, you shouldn't do that. Someone put L in one of my get home bag video, my bike video, like loser or loss, I don't know. Very good entry-level information about the radios. Love to watch a 200 level class. Yeah, I got one more come in real quick. Let's see. Last one. Overall good, showed keen. Okay, I already talked about that. Okay, hour and 8 minutes, not too bad. I appreciate you all. These are my absolute favorite ever. I hope you all are enjoying them. It sounds like you are. I'm gonna continue to do them. So expect to see some content. I should be monetized tomorrow. I'm hoping that I get monetized tomorrow. And then I start making pennies. Look at this sweet axe I got at a thrift store. Vintage hatchet. Oh, I was so happy. $2. $2. I might do a video where I refurbish this for you guys, like on camera. That'd be a great setup. I'd love that thing. But Anyway, content coming out this week. I'm hoping to get my affiliate stuff squared away, get some merch going, at the very least stickers. I want to get stickers out there. And then maybe a part 2 on my comms video. What else is on my list? I still have the 5 C's for urban survival coming out. See, someone's gonna beat me to that. I know YouTubers are biting off me now. Maybe I shouldn't read this. So you'll see some city content coming out. Some city content coming out, more radio stuff on AI, and I hope to get into some of my interviews this week too. So I was really black-pilled on AI a couple days ago. I've gotten better, but I was like, I was thinking to myself, I can't run a prepping channel on the middle and then talk about how AI is going to destroy us all in 2 years. It's really off-brand, so I needed to get some level-headed thinking. So anyway, all right, I'm rambling, and I appreciate you all. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to doing these again soon. I don't know. I need a better outro. Mike Tango Whiskey, all clear.